Today we're going to be looking at the 3 CHS designs, and what we need to do off the bat is to download some brushes. So some of my favorite sites are Brush Easy, Brush King, or anything you could possibly Google as long as you get a free brush. You can see here I've looked up some brushes, some musical symbols. I would click on download file, it downloads to my computer, and then I get this window to pop up that says the downloads music symbols, and the ABR is the file ending. That simply means that that's a brush. A couple of ways to put this into Photoshop. If Photoshop was closed, I can double click on this, it would insert it inside of Photoshop. So Photoshop's already open, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to move it to the desktop. I'm only moving to the desktop because it's the easiest place to find something when you're trying to insert it and you're looking through everything. And I can get rid of the downloads. I'm going to minimize my internet window, and I've got an image already up. I'm going to click B for brushes. I'm going to right click the screen, click on the little arrow, and I can load brushes. It's going to open up, and I'm going to be looking for my desktop brush. Click on that, hit open, and it's going to be inside my brushes. Now when I look at my brushes, I can go down and I can find that it's actually right there. There's all my music symbols, and they're just added into my document. Now there's another way to add or make a new brush. Go up to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I can call this Crown or whatever I want to call it. Hit OK, and then that will also be inside of my brushes. If I hit B for brush, I can search through here and I can find the image of my crown that I just put in there. And right there it is. As you can see from this image, I've got a gradient background that goes from a black to a red. I've got the criteria for the 3 assignments, this one being the CHS book handbook. I've got the royal code, the word pride on there, with each word according to it. I've got the Old English C, and then I've got a design in the background. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to hit Command N to make a new document. Width needs to be 11, the height needs to be 17 inches according to the handbook criteria. If it's going to be a poster, you're basically just going to switch these numbers around. I'm going to call this my CHS handbook. I can click OK. First thing I'm going to do is I've got black and a green on there, so I'm going to hit X to switch my color. I'm going to use my eyedropper to select a nice bright red, and I can just move the color to make it a brighter red. And we'll do a black. So it goes from a red to a black. Hit G for gradient, Z to zoom out so I have a little bit of space around it. Back to G for gradient, and the more I drag this across my screen, the bigger the gradient or the less the gradient according to the colors. And if I just hit X and I switch those colors, it will switch the direction of the gradient. And so just for demo purposes, I'm just going to leave it like that. Command Shift N for a new layer. I can call this the brush 1 layer. If I go back to my brush, and I've got all these brush options on the side right here, I can, again, like always, Photoshop has options within options. So if I change my brush options, it'll change the way the brush looks on here. And so I can end up having some type of design on there, reduce the spacing like that, in order to get an effect on the background like that. Go through history, we'll just get rid of that. The only other thing you want to do is you're going to add text. Right now what I want to do is I want to show you how to add some layers style effects to the text so it actually pops and stands out from the rest of the document. So what I'm going to do is Command J to make a copy. There's my brush 1 copy. Hit the I button to make the layer underneath go away. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to rasterize the type. And rasterize just simply means turning a text box into a flattened image. Once it's a flattened image, you can no longer type inside of it or change the font characters about it. That's why I made a duplicate of the text before I did this, in case I ever want to go back. I'm going to go up to Layer, Layer Style, click on Drop Shadow, and we're just going to go right through these. Pull this off to the side just like before. That really creates a popped out 3-dimensional looking text. You've got an inner shadow, just creates a nice shadow on the inner edge of it. You have to click on the word in order to get all of the changes and options effects to show up. You have outer glow, click on that, change its color. Inner glow. You have bevel and emboss and all of its options as well. And basically what you want to do, you just want to take a look at all of your options to see what you can do to make your text really stand up and come off the edge of the paper. Now all you have to do is figure out what type of brushes you want to use, decide what type of lettering you're going to place on top of there and what symbols you're going to use from CHS, and you just have to create a handbook cover, a poster, and a club, activity, and/or department image as well. One last thing I want to show you guys is a couple of examples that I have already. Again, we're going to go back to my CHS handbook cover. The one thing that you really need to focus on is the fact that I really focused on the elements and principles. I've got a great use of balance. My lines make my eye move. Nothing looks too busy. You can actually see the word pride, and then I left the rest of it flat so it actually pops out. And just an overall good use of the elements and principles, and that is why this design works so well. Just like if we go to this image, it's the exact same image, and this is actually where I got the idea for the CHS handbook cover. I was making a CHS poster, and one thing to know is that as soon as you get one design done, you make as many as possible and just keep saving them under different file names, and you'll be amazed at how many you can produce.